In this video, Joe Rogan claps back at The View.
You're worried about losing your job. It's just frantic.
Race hustler Angela Rye breaks down in tears.
Honestly, with myself, because I spent so much time, like the half of the country that I despise.
And Hollywood actress Jennifer Lewis explodes over the election loss.
And black men, that was just shocking. He's going to be in charge of the military. We have up.
Now, do you recall when Joy Behar from The View accused Joe Rogan of believing in dragons?
Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons? He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did.
Well, he finally clapped back, and it turns out the only fairy tale here is The View's version of the truth. Watch.
Dragon lover. Joy Behar
is.
was trying to say that I believe in dragons.
Wait, what is this? I just heard about it.
I checked it. And the lady goes, did you double check this? She goes, I checked it. He believes in dragons.
Should be like,
you think they lived
Sasquatch,
alongside of
bitch.
people?
Wait,
it was from a wildlife biologist who came on my podcast. It was from Forrest Gallant.
So you're taking Joey Behar, whatever her name is, as like a news source.
Did you have a stroke? No. This is the most important part.
I don't know these people.
Hey, this is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, and then making the stupidest fucking statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife biologist, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't believe
the other
Joy
part of what he
Behar
said
didn't
was
weigh-
there was something before that where he was explaining encounters with giant reptiles. And
I
then
don't
there's
know.
also, listen,
It doesn't make sense to me
There-
that a middle-aged woman could be dumb.
when you're worried about losing your job and you're worried about podcasts taking over and who's the source of news, and we said Donald Trump is Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us and he won, and this is fucking great, and Joe Rogan believes in dragons. It's just frantic. It's foolish.
Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He
believes in dragons?
He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did.
This is why conservatives have been so critical of these legacy media companies talking about fact checking, right? She claimed that she triple sourced the idea that he believed in dragons, but when we all listened to it, which I already had a video on this a while back, he never said that he believed in dragons. So which is it, right? And so will she come back on the show and tell people, hey, you know what? I misspoke on that. I was wrong. I did not actually triple check it. Of course she's not, because she's going to hide behind ABC, because ABC, they're not going to admit that she was wrong. The only time they're going to step in is when they have to get them to read a legal disclaimer live on the air because they've crossed too many lines, right? And that's why it's very important to know where you're getting your information from. That's why we've seen a mass exodus with legacy media and left-leaning influencers, because they lied to their audience. And that's why you have people like Angela Rye breaking down in tears because they can't understand how Kamala Harris lost this election.
I'm very emotional. I think that I feel the obligation. I feel frustrated. Honestly, with myself, because I spent so much time over the last couple of weeks just focusing on the half that I hate right now, like the half of the country that I despise. And I'm frustrated about that because you don't get understanding through frustration and hate. And I think that what I feel guilty about is knowing that there's an obligation to a whole other half, you know, of the country, and feeling like there has to be a conversation, you know, a come to Jesus, as they say, with so many people, because we are really not on the same page.
Okay, so before I even respond to that mess, please do us a favor. If you're getting value from this video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you want to support us further, go to the link in the description below, shop the merch store, or buy us a cup of coffee. So when she's talking about, well, I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to get the information. I don't know how to find the answers. Well, step number one, Angela, is you got to get the hate out of your heart. I don't hate Joe Biden. I don't hate Kamala Harris. I don't hate you. I don't hate anybody, because that is poison. Now, I don't agree with your policies. I don't agree with Joe Biden. I don't agree with Kamala Harris. In fact, if she was elected, I'd be one of the top people saying this is bad for our country. But I would never go to the level of hate. That's your problem. And matter of fact, that's the people on the left. That's their problem too. The lens that they see the world through when it comes to a Trump administration is hate. So until you address that, you're not going to find any answers.
And I am at a loss at this point for how to get there. And so I think you guys know I'm fiercely competitive over all kinds of ridiculous things. But what I really don't like to do is I don't mind saying I don't know. I don't mind admitting I don't know. I hate not knowing for an extended period of time and feeling like the overwhelm of I don't know where to turn to find the answer, right? Like, I don't even know if at this point people will be honest about their reasons for voting for the other side, or if they'll be honest about who they really voted for, because they probably know us or have seen us and wouldn't feel comfortable telling us the truth. So where do you go to solve an I don't know when you're not even confident that people will be honest with you?
She can't find the answer because she already assumes that the answer that people will give her is not the real answer. She's also assuming that people are lying right now to her about why they voted for Trump, when that's not actually the reality. The reality is people voted for him for economic reasons. So Angela's not really looking for answers, not yet. She's not ready for the answers because she can't accept the truth. What did he say? You can't handle the truth, right? That's her problem. Now, the other person who can't accept the truth is Senator Sherrod Brown out of Ohio, who just lost his election to Bernie Moreno, which was one of the seats that flipped towards the Republicans and why the Republicans have a Senate majority. Now, let's hear his reasoning on why he lost his election. Watch.
In this case, they spent $40 million on 8 different ads on that issue.
On transgenders.
Yeah, they weren't talking about how to make Ohio a better state. They're not doing their job on education. They're not doing their job on health care. They're not doing their job on creating jobs.
But they're winning elections. Are they successful?
They're winning elections in part because they've rigged the system. They made it harder to vote. They've changed ballot language in a dramatic way with the last election. They did that with abortion rights. It didn't work in that case.
Yes, they spent all this money against you guys. One, are you out of touch on those issues? 2, should you guys have done a better job in pushing back?
I'm not out of touch with those issues. I go home, I hear people all the time. I know how they focus group and they lie. I mean, how do you call me out of touch when they lie about an issue?
I mean, I guess it's been an effective campaign tactic. Do you think it was an effective
so
campaign?
if you want to be so cynical as a reporter that, oh, it worked, we applaud them, so they're so smart.
I'm not applauding them. I'm just saying that if it works, right?
Well, yeah, but your job as someone who is a fair player in this, and I think you are, I've known you a long time, is rather than commenting on it works, comment on they lied. And that's not a fair way to play.
Okay, so essentially he's claiming that the election was rigged because Republicans got away with misinformation. And you guys know, every time I do these videos, that seems to be the recurring theme. Misinformation is the excuse. Now, the irony is so interesting because Democrats have spent years accusing Republicans of undermining trust in our elections. And now that they do it, it's okay. Now, listen, let's just exercise some common sense here. He did not represent the policies that America wanted. That's why he lost his election. It's that simple. And accusing the GOP of lying without any evidence is obviously reeking of desperation and showing that he's a sore loser. So this isn't about the election integrity. It's about Democrats refusing to accept accountability for losing touch with American people. Now, someone who's always been out of touch is Rosie O'Donnell. And yes, she had a few choice words recently that led to her latest meltdown. Check this out.
You got to get ready for what's coming. But trying to stay on the happy side of life and not, obsess on that either. But it's hard to avoid it when it's so blatantly obvious when you look at the parallels that we have been here before as a world. When democracy falls, fascism takes its place, right? Capitalism And it's come. And people, I think, are in for a shock.
Now, I showed you that clip because, guys, I mean, you're going to have people you're working with, maybe even some of your family members, who is Rosie O'Donnell mentally. And that's how they're handling this past election. And they shouldn't be, really. They should be able to exercise some emotional intelligence. They should have a stronger mindset around this stuff. This isn't a democracy. This is a republic. So the democracy hasn't fallen. Fascism hasn't really taken its place. So that's a false claim there. In fact, if we want to go down the road of fascism, you can argue that the current administration, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and people like that, they've actually exercised some fascist traits against the American people. And again, that's why they lost this election. But nobody wants to accept that truth. They just want to blame. And probably the people at the top of the list who refuse to take any responsibility but spend 99% of their time blaming other people are Hollywood actors, Hollywood actresses. And the latest here, Jennifer Lewis, who's an African-American, has a sit down with Stephen A. Smith. And let's just say she explodes and she blames black men.
Let me ask you this. What about what they've said in terms of black, particularly black men and Latinos, supported him more than they have in the past? Why do you think that is? And what do you have to say to black men and Latinos who were not in favor of supporting Kamala Harris?
Oh, honey. Oh, honey. When your favorite niece and your 13-year-old daughter is raped by your alcoholic brother or the next door neighbor, and she tries to abort that baby inside of her from a rape, you're going to regret that. They want to keep women in their place. It's so disgusting. I can't even put words to them voting for her. They didn't vote for her. Didn't vote because she was a woman.
Okay, let's just pause it right here. I know Stephen A. Smith does not believe. I mean, come on. I mean, Jennifer Lewis is extreme. She's like Angela Rye earlier in this video. I mean, they are like on the fringes with their beliefs. They're very progressive, and they see everything through the white man and black people. That's how they see it. Race hustlers. Obviously, she's not saying anything that's really credible because it's not backed up with any data points. There's no numbers to truly support those claims. Latino men actually probably made one of the biggest differences here. Suburban white women also made a big difference here. But you know who actually made the big difference is the Democratic Party failed to communicate their message and they put up a terrible candidate. But wait a minute. It's because black men could not vote for a woman. That's really what it came down to in her mind.
They didn't care that she was smart and powerful, educated, beautiful, kind, joyful, fearless. She would have taken care of this country. She would have protected the people. She would have surrounded herself with great minds. But keeping women in their place was more important to them. And black men, that was just shocking because, honey, he's going to give the military and the police permission to shoot you in your back and there will be no immunity. So, baby, y'all done fucked up. You took every right from your children. Once again, there will be no social security and pensions and rights. This thing has said you will never have to vote again. He's going to be in charge of the military. We have fucked up.
And my only message to Jennifer Lewis would be, number one, blaming black men is not going to be the solution to whatever problems you have going on in your mind. In fact, it would just make everything worse. You're not going to get anywhere. Number two, the problem with people like Jennifer is they can't reconcile that sometimes there are people who are just not good enough for what they're asking for, right? I mean, that's just what it is. It has nothing to do with your skin color, your gender. You're just not good enough yet. Maybe 10 years down the road, maybe Kamala Harris will be a more formidable candidate, but she's not today. And one of the reasons why I know I could end this argument for Jennifer is just, hey, who would you have voted for? Michelle Obama, Condoleezza Rice, or Kamala Harris? I'm sure you would have taken Michelle Obama and Condoleezza Rice over Kamala Harris. I'm sure you would have. And then, of course, we have one more meltdown to show you. Here's what liberal women think of MAGA women.
MAGA women who voted for Trump, they did so because they have no way of taking care of themselves and they have to rely on a man. So when they see women who are financially independent, I think there's like a little bit of jealousy there, and they want us to feel the same imprisonment that they feel because they have to rely on a man. I said what I said. I say it with my chest. Bye.
Yes, I'm so happy you said it with your chest. Now, let me say this with my brains, right? Number one, just because a woman stays at home and takes care of the kids does not make her less than you, just because you claim to be independent and you don't need a man. In fact, it actually, I would argue, makes her stronger emotionally, spiritually, and even physically, because she's taking care of multiple kids. And to do that, I would argue, is the hardest job in the entire world. And secondly, clearly, you've had some of that feminism Kool-Aid that really is not serving women in today's world. Pretty much what you guys have done is you've sold out family values. You sold out true happiness and purpose for money. And we know that she believes she doesn't need a man. So I'm going to go ahead and call it right here. She'll probably die alone. Okay. No man wants to marry a woman who believes she doesn't need him. Men know that we need women, and until a woman understands she needs a man, she's not going to get along with one. That's just the bottom line. All right, so let's hear from you guys in the comment section below. What do you think about Joe Rogan finally firing back at The View? Also, what do you guys think about the meltdowns that I showed you repeatedly? You got Angela Rye crying. You got Jennifer Lewis, going sister soldier. You have Senator or former Senator Sherrod Brown here shortly, who lost to Bernie Moreno, claiming that, it's election fraud. It's due to Republicans pushing misinformation. Okay, got it. Please share your comments and everything in the comment section below. Now, this video was all about the meltdowns from these liberals. But what about the meltdown that continues to take place on legacy media channels like CNN and MSNBC? Well, the new meltdown is CNN claiming that Elon Musk is selling secrets to Putin. Yeah, where'd they get that from? With zero evidence, by the way. And we did react to that video. And if you want to take a look at it, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up right now.